Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast, it's Critical Blast.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
And I'm Scott Wakefield, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we talk about comic books and all kinds of great storytelling, sometimes with incredible guests. And we want you to join us Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Silverline Sunday. I'm Curtis Fujita, and I'm here with the Silverline Sunday crew. We're about to talk about what our best of 2020 is. And by best, we mean all sorts of subjects, from video games and comic books to movies to whatever we experienced in 2020 that was actually good, is what we're going to go ahead and talk about today. We may have one that it's bad, but we all discussed that it might be a couple shows in a row, so we may hold off on that. But so we're gonna get started. If you're wondering where our fearless leader Roland Mann is, Roland is finishing up at a comic convention. He might join us at the end of this stream. We'll see. But he's busy working the crowds at the convention. Before we get started, we got a couple people chiming in. We got Quentin J. Bedwell. He says, "Yes, boom! Great to see everyone. Great to see you, Quentin. Thanks for coming in." And we also have Phil Leon, good friend of Silverline. Says, "What's up, Silverline peeps?" Hey, how's it going, Phil? So before we get started, just a little bit of business. First of all, we do have a Kickstarter out right now, and it's a double feature. And by double feature, it's actually two different comic books. The first one is Teen Beetle, and that's by John Crowther. It's a superhero comic book based on the public domain Blue Beetle character, or in that universe. So that's part of it. And then the other part, the other side of the double feature, is Switchblade by Roland Mann and Leonard Kirk. And that is part of our remix line. That's where we're kind of reinvigorating some of our old issues and digitally remastering them. We had a really great start out the gates, but we need everybody's help to kind of cross the finish line. So please don't be shy. Check it out. And if you've already checked it out, please share and let people know about it. We really love making comics. We really like getting out to everybody. So check out our double feature on Kickstarter. I think we have about maybe a little less than 2 weeks left on Kickstarter. So check it out. And the other item of business is, if you haven't already, Silverline creators are in contention to get the best lines and the best. There's a best of awards in the Independent Creator Awards group. So go to the Facebook Independent Creator Awards info group, join it, and go ahead and feel free to vote, especially for Team Silverline, including some of our guests that we have right here, including Barb, as something for Best Inker and lots of Best Creator and lots of things like that. So please go check that out. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get down to it. The best of 2020. So I've gone ahead. I just kind of figured I have a couple categories, but this is a comic book company, so we figured we'd start with comic books. So it doesn't have to be the rules. It doesn't have to be something that came out in 2020. It's just something that you experienced or read in 2020 that stood out for you. So does anybody have any noteworthy comic books of 2020 that you'd like to tell us about? Don't be shy.
There's one. I'm trying to remember the name. This is hold on.
Okay.
Really stood out.
It really did. This, I don't know if you've ever, European is called The Quest for the Time Bird. I don't know if this came out this year, but I read it, and it's a European comic, and I really, really like that. The artwork in it was worth it alone. So
What,
it's like that crazy European cool artwork. So I remember reading that, really liked it.
what's it
Um,
about?
it's kind of about this lady who ends up like like this old wizard, and she goes and gets him, and they go for this quest for this time bird. And I don't remember exactly all. There's more. I don't want to give away any secrets, but as she's going through this quest, she kind of goes through this. It's sort of like a fantasy quest land. I like those things. I love fantasy comics. I don't see a lot of them in America, but Europe is loaded with them. So I get them from Europe. so, so that was one I saw. And there was another one called New York. And I don't know if hold on.
While Aaron's grabbing that, Barb, did you want to share what you're coloring on the screen, or?
Oh, you mean share? Well, you'll have to
I mean,
share
like
it.
live stream what you're working on.
Sure, I'll have to take my iPad into the screen here.
Okay,
Hang
yeah,
on.
that'd be great.
So this is another one called, I think it's pronounced New York.
Oh,
And this
neat.
is one my friend Tom found. And again, it's one of those crazy European where all the artwork's like super amazing. But it's about this boy who's like in the far future after like the US has died, and he goes on this adventure. He eventually befriends like a bear, and he gets like a laser rifle, and there's not a lot of words in it, but the artwork is great, and there's like actual Lovecraft type monsters and stuff in it. It's pretty cool. And the other one from America that I really liked was Frank Joe's Skyborn.
Oh, cool.
And I hope he does more of this, because it kind of ended not in a super cliffhanger, but it ended where it can go further. And
he's working on a book right now called Fight Girls.
Yeah, that's the one I do want to check out. I saw Skyborn in a shop, and I'm a sucker for Frank Cho, so I bought it. I really enjoyed his work in that, but I want to check out Fight Girls as well. So I think those are my best of 2020. I like I said, I do a lot of European or foreign comics. I do some American, but I just buy it in the store whatever looks cool.
Okay.
That's how I find this stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, it looks like Barb's coming in the room, and I forgot to mention, of course, as always, we have he goes by a different title, but we call him Brett. Brett is our producer of our show, and he's in the background helping facilitate everything. So thanks to Brett for helping out. We have Barbara is coming in with her iPad, so we'll be looking at her stuff in just a moment. And I was going to point, I brought this book out, and this is, you know, like Aaron, I'm also a big fan of not just the American comic books, but European comic books, or as they say in France, bande dessinée. So this is
Oh yeah,
I got this sheer claw.
I've read Claw.
Yeah, just gorgeous illustrations. Kind of similar to like what Aaron was saying. It's more illustrative than anything else, you know.
Right.
Apparently, only the host can share.
Oh, well, let's do this. I'll look into it when somebody else is talking. So, anybody else? John, Barb, do you have any best comic books of 2020?
I haven't. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. I haven't really had a chance to read a lot of comics this year. I really liked. I went and read Elf Quest. That was one that came out this year. Not as good as the early Elf Quests, but definitely worth reading. You know, it's got my favorite character in it, so that's Skywise.
Is it the same couple that did it, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's being put out by Dark Horse.
Okay.
Yeah, they have omnibuses. I always read the original Quest, and I never read much anything past it. And so now that they have the omnibuses, I want to try to go back and finish it.
The original Quest is definitely the best.
Yeah, it was just like so good, and it ended so well that when they put more out, I was like, well, I don't know, but I'd like to definitely go back and read it. Yeah. So yeah, but I'm on board with you. I need to go do that.
The storylines and consistency kind of wavered throughout the years, but I think the first one is definitely the best. Yeah. And this one's definitely interesting. I think it's a good companion piece.
Yeah, I've been doing. Yeah, I met them at I think they were at a store signing, and I got some hardbacks of mine signed by them, and I think they were launching the last Quest. I think
yes,
their last volume. That's what they were promoting. Yeah.
Barb, it looks like I adjusted the settings. I don't know if it's still not allowing you to to share.
Hang on.
Sure.
Keeps talking.
Yeah, sure. John, how about you? Any books that are noteworthy? It doesn't have to come out in 2020. It could just be something you're reading this past year.
I actually have to say I'm a little disappointed in myself. I didn't actually read any comics in 2020. I was making them.
Well, that shows your dedication to the craft. So there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that, right?
And now we understand why your feed has been cut.
No,
Oh,
he's
what?
He was looking, really? No.
Yeah.
I know. Crap. I know there's been. I can talk about stuff that I've kind of seen. Bits and pieces of online because there's like the whole death metal thing has been really huge in 2020.
Yeah.
And I know what was it? Immortal Hulk was still going in 2020, and that series was amazing.
Definitely. Cool. Well, let's move on to the next thing. So kind of similar genre to some degree, like animated series. Is there any animated series or animated films that anybody saw last year that kind of got them excited or inspired?
I'm trying to think of what did I watch. I thought there was one I had.
Oh, looks like Phil Leon just chimed in and said the European comics rock. Yes, they totally do.
Yeah.
Ever since for me it was always Moebius. Ever since Moebius,
Oh, yeah.
it's always like just opened my eyes to a different layer of what comic books can be. So
I could say as far as animation goes, it'd been a few years since I saw Heavy Metal, and so I bought Heavy Metal on a whim and forgot how much I enjoyed that movie.
That's awesome. Yeah, for me it was there was an anime series that I watched this year called Vinland Saga. I don't know if anybody's heard of it.
No.
I've been told about it, and I've been trying to figure out how to watch it.
It's on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime,
it's okay.
And it's fantastic, and it's basically the story of I'm not trying to spoil much, but it's a Viking anime.
Well, that seems up John's alley.
Oh yeah, and it's just so cool, and
yeah,
they kind of interweave it with some history. It almost has that kind of vibe where it's like adjacent to real history and stuff like that. But phenomenal story, great animation, great art direction, and it's only one season came out, but and the finale heartbreaking, but phenomenal. So check out Vinland Saga.
I enjoyed some of the Castlevania series that was on Netflix. I think I watched some of that this year.
Yeah, that's by Brad Graber and Powerhouse.
Yeah, I thought they did. I haven't watched the third season. Everyone says it's just like really well done, so I need to watch that. But yeah, it is. I keep forgetting. I think I keep feeling like I watched something else this year, but
Yeah, that studio Powerhouse. They're doing the new Masters of the Universe with Kevin Smith.
Are they the ones doing it?
They also did a series called Seis Manos for Netflix, which was like kung fu in 1970s or 1980s Mexico.
That's cool.
And the guy that owns the company, Brad Graber, I've interviewed him for a magazine before. He's a martial artist, and so he has this very keen instinct for action. And supposedly, I guess the story goes is that he was talking to Kevin Smith once, and Kevin Smith was writing all the ideas of what the action should be like in the script, and he just told him, "Look, if you don't have any ideas, just put in the words fighty, fighty, fighty in the page."
Fighty.
Yeah, and we'll take it from there. And I when I interviewed him, I said, "Is that true?" He goes, "Yeah, that's totally true because they know how to do action." So yeah, Powerhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil chimed in. He says Primal was also a great animation.
That's what I wanted to see, and I can never find it. I'm always like stream, so something's on like actual regular television. But that looked amazing.
Yeah.
And can you find that on demand at all? Does you know?
I don't know. I have to look it up.
Okay.
Phil, if you have any idea where we can find it, please let us know.
Yeah, because that one looked really cool, and I never got around to seeing it.
That's excellent.
You were talking there about seeing the anime and stuff like that. My husband and I retired from the Muggle world the last day of 2019,
Okay.
and we discovered Netflix.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my god, we just been binge watching like you wouldn't believe. We binge watched all of Supernatural,
Okay.
the Umbrella Academy, and then my son got us on his Disney Plus account, and we've been watching The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was our binge watching this year.
That was so. Has everybody watched? I mean, I don't know everybody out there, but everybody on the show, has everybody seen Mandalorian?
Not the second
My
season, not
goodness.
yet.
Oh, what are you waiting on, Aaron?
Yeah.
I was watching Preacher.
Okay, that's a fair reason. That's a very.
So, strange enough, I was thinking I did watch the final season of Clone Wars. I really liked that. And
Yes.
I think that was this year. I think that actually came out this year. And
No, it came out in 2020. Was it 2020? I think it was.
I think it was like at the very beginning of 2020. It dropped on.
When did it came out shortly at when did Disney Plus start? It started November of 2019. So yeah, I think it was like January when it
Or
came
something, yeah. And I really liked the way they ended it. Of course, I'll never be able to get that on Blu-ray or anything to complete my collection. I always have to watch that part on Disney Plus. Whatever.
Yeah, that was epic. I like so yeah, Clone Wars.
Yeah, that last season.
Seasons, yeah. Whew.
Nice.
I do want to get in the more anime though. My friend's been showing me all this new anime I needed to get watching. So 2021 may be my year of catching up in anime for a while.
There you go. Phil Leon just kind of chimed in and wanted to let us know where we can find Primal. So he said it's on HBO Max.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, or
Adult Swim.
Yeah.
I have HBO Max. Good. Okay, then I'll check it out because that looked really cool. One of my favorite animated shows is Fire and Ice.
Oh yeah,
the Frank Frazetta one, and that's what it kind of reminded me a little bit in a way. I was like, oh, that looks awesome.
Yeah, that's a classic. So, well, video games. Let's talk a little bit about video games in 2020. Any standouts for anybody? Any best of video games?
I think my favorite is still going to have to be the Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know. I really like that one so far. That kind of surprised me. But then again, Samurais is an easy sell for me. And because I always liked that. I'm into like Dark Souls games, so I'm trying to think. Sekiro is good. Again, more samurai ninja stuff. I'm trying to think anything not.
Ghost is definitely on my list of games to eventually get a hold of after I beat Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah. I'm trying to think there was some other. I had to look. I'm like the slowest game player because I'm usually working. So I usually play games like an hour a night or every other night. So like a 60-hour game will last me like months on end because I just slowly pick at it. So yeah.
I play maybe at generally about once a week.
Yeah, it's just so much
at best. So there's been a couple of weeks when I did it a couple more than once a week, but it's generally about once a week when I do it.
Yeah. So there was another one called Bloodstain, I think, Virtual the Night, that was made by the original guy who made Castlevania. It was a Kickstarter project. I think that came out this year, and that was really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Samurais, Phil Leon says Primal is also the same creator as Samurai Jack. So that's like Andy, right? And I think he actually did the first Clone Wars cartoon too, the original.
He did. Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is he did a lot of the action sequences in Iron Man 2.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. So if you see the end fight at Iron Man 2, where it's like all the robots are coming in and all that.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly Jon Favreau said something to the effect of he got the idea from Genndy Tartakovsky because he was like, how can I have all this violence and get away with it in a PG-13 movie? He's like, make them all robots, and you can chop their heads off. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that's why,
they did that with Transformers. I mean, it's like in the G.I. Joe cartoons, everyone missed, but in Transformers, nobody missed. I mean, look at the Transformers movie. They disintegrated Starscream.
Yeah.
I mean, they just blew him in the bits. I'm like, good God. Okay, yeah, so they're brutal.
Definitely. What about you, John? What about you, John the Viking Prince Voltan? Is there any specific game that you would recommend?
Well, I mean, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I definitely would recommend it. Not just because it's amazing, but just the freaking graphics. If you just see, like, it's actually get up at a vantage point, and actually just look at the graphics, it's just insane.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, for me, my pick would be probably Miles Morales, because I was one of the lucky people that was able to get a PS5 towards the end of the year, and that game's great. I mean, it's shorter than the actual Spider-Man original game, but excellent game, great graphics, good art direction, And one thing that I like is they use a little bit of depth of field. Like, I don't know if you folks have experienced this, but in a lot of the, I guess, current gen and even past gen, this idea of like the graphics fidelity, sometimes everything is detailed, like even stuff in the distance is super detailed, so you don't get any depth. But I've noticed like Ghost of Tsushima, the Spider-Man games, you get a little bit of depth of field, but sometimes it's funny when it's too high end graphics. So.
Yeah, it's the one thing that's pretty trippy about Ghost of Tsushima is they've really worked a lot in getting the like the screen overlays of like your health bar and stuff to go. So it only comes on when you're fighting, but most of the time it's just like there's nothing on but just the screen. So they really got that cinematic quality. They did a good job with that.
I liked how they used like when you're using the map, you set like a waypoint. In a lot of games, it'll be flashing in the distance, and it'll be
Yeah.
like, but what they made it is that whenever you press the button, the wind blows in the direction you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
You got the beautiful like cherry blossom leaves, going down there. And it's just
Yeah.
it's
It's a really good immersive. I mean, that game really does like immerse you in the world. The first one, where usually most games you try to hurry, make the horse run fast, but a lot of times I'll just sit there and walk around with the horse just because it's kind of pretty to look at everything. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't even use the horse in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm just walking around.
Yeah. The one game I do want to play, and it's one of those like I'll get around to it. I do want to play the Star Wars Rogue Squadron because I do have a VR unit, so I do want to play that virtual reality.
I heard it's really good. I heard it's really a lot of free DLC stuff coming.
Yeah, which they said they were not going to do, so I'm glad that they are doing that.
Yeah.
And they put the B-wing in, which is one of my favorite ships. I'm like, okay, I may have to buy it now. So.
The last video game I played?
What's that?
Pong.
Pong. Classic.
Hey, and we were the most popular kids in town because we had the brand new video game.
So the other kids were trying to get over the house. The other kids were coming over to the house and trying to.
There was, because we had Pong.
Did you charge admission?
No, we should
have. Could have made bank.
Oh yeah. Well, we got through games. So how about books? Has anybody read any books or audio books or any
books?
Yeah, books.
Actual books? You mean with like no pictures and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Like the words,
Weird.
God, I feel like I haven't done shit.
Remember, we're on.
Hey, John.
I did read some short stories, but nothing that stands. I felt like I did read a book this year. Why is this year like so hard to remember? I'm like looking back, I'm like I remember all the stuff I was going through, but I felt like I did. I think I did start trying to read a book and I quit halfway through. I bought a book at a convention that some guy selling his own book, and it was okay. It just this one guy, he like kept getting captured by the forces and he's released and captured and released and captured. It kept going back. By like the third or fourth time, I'm like, okay, you're stretching this out beyond belief. You just need to stop.
As far as books for me, I read this book, and it's totally not comic book related, but I read this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you ever heard of that book, but it really changed how I view things about it's by this gentleman named Robert Kiyosaki, and he basically grew up. He's from Hawaii, and he became this successful businessman or entrepreneur. And the whole story is that when he was growing up, his father, he called his poor dad, was highly educated and worked for Department of Education in Hawaii, Board of Education. But his mindset about money and how to handle money was very poor. And so he actually learned a lot about finance and money from his dad, from his best friend's father, who was an entrepreneur who didn't graduate high school, but was a very successful businessman. And the whole book is just kind of about how you view money and how you use it to, to kind of leverage things and to think in a different mindset. And so it is a fascinating book, and it just changed how I view things. And it also put me onto another book called The Richest Man in Babylon, which I don't know if you've ever heard about, but that's a fascinating book about the same kind of thing. Again, not comic book related, but it's a really, really good read or a good listen. So I highly recommend it.
Well, I don't know if this was a very smart choice for this year, but I started 1 second after, and then the day after, and I'm now on the year after, or 1 year after. No, it's an apocalyptic book. Why am I reading this? I have no idea why I'm reading.
Is it a big book or?
There's a series of books.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it's about the Chinese launching atomic weapons in our atmosphere, and it creates this massive EMP pulse that knocks everything out, and everybody's got to basically back to the Stone Age again. And only old
So
cars.
Barb's preparing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why I chose that to read this year, but maybe I was being in a morbid mood. But I read that, and of course I read a lot of history biographies of kings and queens and stuff like that, because I find it fascinating, because I'm a history geek.
Well, totally. I mean, all that stuff is like, it's like the best drama, right? Like my wife and I were watching a BBC series about the royalty in England, and it's just disturbing here about like sons, trying to dethrone the father, and then the uncle kills the nephew, and it's like.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, right now I'm listening to one about Queen Anne, and she had like 17 pregnancies, and none of her children lived. It's like, oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
When you hear about the whole thing where it's like they can't give the king a son, right? And so they remarry or worse, and isn't it proven like usually it's the man's chromosomes that kind of decide whether it's a boy or girl? But here all these kings are getting angry at the queen for not giving them a sire.
It's our fearless leader.
Yes.
Yeah, but I can't figure out how to get connected here.
Oh, there he is.
You're in. We hear you.
We can see you.
I think we're good.
Oh, I see what's happening. It's going full screen somehow. That's why I can't do anything. Exit full screen. There we go. Okay, so you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Hey.
He's back.
How's it going, Roland?
It's going good. There we go. There you all are.
All right.
Got a skeleton crew tonight, huh?
Yeah.
We're talking about food.
We're talking about food.
Listen.
That's not what we started with, but that's what we're talking about.
The chat blew up. I mean, we are going crazy over here. It's like the New York Stock.
Foodies, huh? Well, can I offer a couple of things to catch up?
Please.
Yeah, sure.
So I read April Morning by Howard Fast. It was a novel of a young boy during the American Revolution. And it was just basically the whole novel was one day. It was the Boston Commons shot, and it was his experience going through that entire day and fighting the British Concord and Lexington.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was good book.
Kind of like Johnny Tremaine.
It's an old book, but it was new to me. Games, I played Grand Tactician, and my computer can't handle it, and so it was a bit frustrating at times. But it's a broad, it's a American Civil War game, and it's a broad campaign game in which you can play either Confederates or the Federals. And you can control the politics of the game. You can control local industry, as well as troop movements and things like that. And then once the troops get close enough to each other, you can zoom in and actually control the armies on the battlefield. Cool. So yeah, I like it quite a bit. Let's see, what else did y'all talk about? I didn't watch. I didn't. There's no animation for me that I could think of. Comic books. Okay, yeah, comic books. Duh. That should have been the first one, right?
You know those things you make, Roland? Those the
yeah.
words and picture things?
So I read one of the things that I enjoyed quite a bit was was oh, my keyboard fell. What the heck? Oh, it's because I yanked it. Sorry, here's my keyboard. It fell on the ground. I read Mindbender by by James Pruitt. That was a quite enjoyable read. So let's see. I'm trying to think of what else did I read. I read a lot of stuff. I heard somebody mention Cho's book, Frank Cho's book.
Yeah, it was Skyborn.
Skyborn. I read Skyborn as well.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. What else?
TV series? Any particular TV series?
Yeah, so Cobra Kai. We watched.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, we watched Cobra Kai and really enjoyed the heck out of that. And that jacket is ugly, isn't it?
It is hideous.
It's getting the desired effect.
Yeah. When I get this nice shadow in there, it'll be truly hideous with the green shirt and everything like that. Yeah.
But I did hear someone, Barb. We watched and enjoyed Umbrella Academy as well. We also liked Lock and Key, both of which are based on comic books. We also enjoyed the heck out of Ben Dunn's Warrior Nun.
Yeah,
I need to watch that. It's on my list to watch.
Yeah, it was really good. You know, I mean, I read Warrior Nun Ariella long time ago.
Oh God, what was that? That was early '90s, wasn't it?
I can't remember if it was early '90s or late '80s.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I read that
a long
too.
time ago. And so I don't recall, and I didn't go back to read it before or since watching the show, so I don't recall exactly how accurate it was or is. But we enjoyed the heck out of it. It was well done.
I think some of the TV shows we haven't got around to TV shows, have we?
No,
yeah.
Yes, it had. Yeah.
I liked Preacher. Preacher got kind of crazy at this stage. I was surprised how close that stayed to the comic, considering it was on FX. Because I'm like, that may had to be an HBO, but they stayed pretty close. Gory is, and it was gory. But I mean, that was Preacher. We watched a TV series called Undone or The Undoing on HBO. Nicole Kidman. It's like a murder mystery. That was really good. That's in HBO Max. And there was one other.
We watched that Chris Hemsworth movie on Netflix, was it? You know,
which one?
It was that one where he was running all over the place.
Oh, Extraction. That's based off
Extraction. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think
Andy Parks had a. Was it Andy Parks? I think Andy Parks had something to do with that book.
Yeah,
my friend got me into. She's been getting me more into South Korean dramas. We watched one called "It's Okay Not to Be Okay." That's on Netflix, and that was probably one of my favorite series this year. That was really good.
I hear those Korean dramas are like super addictive.
Yeah, they can be. They're basically, this one is really good. They're really big into putting magical things in this series when they don't really explain it. Like I watched one series and it was just like this drama, and then halfway through these two people switch bodies, and there was no pretense or no foreshadowing. It was just this magical thing happening. You're like, wait, what? They do that all the time, so you just have to go with it. Yeah.
Cool.
When's the next Umbrella Academy season going to come out?
I think they just advertised something.
I was going to say, I want to say we just finished watching season 3, I think.
What? I missed it. All right, I got to go back.
I thought it was only 2. Maybe I missed.
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy. I think it's 3.
Has anybody here ever watched that live Teen Titans show that was on DC?
No, I haven't heard anything good about it though.
I watched the first 4 episodes, but it was trying too hard to be a little. At least from the beginning, it seemed a little too trying too hard to be gritty. You know.
Okay, it was on HBO Max, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll check out, but we'll see. You know, it can't. I mean, it can't be, and nothing could be as good as New Mutants. But
okay. I guess we watched season 2. Sorry.
Oh, season 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it got me all excited for nothing.
Sorry.
But I'm a big fan of Cobra Kai. Like Roland is. I really enjoy that. We have the last 2 episodes to watch. We have a friend we watch it with, so we wait till she comes over, and then we all watch it together.
Yeah, we've only watched about 3 episodes of season 3, so
Yeah. So far, it's pretty good. Yeah, I like
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons. My wife wasn't into it because she didn't like all the bullying and stuff going on. And I started watching the 3rd season, and she was in the room while I was watching it, and then she just says, "Okay, we got to watch the whole series." So we watched the whole in one sitting, and she was just like,
Wow.
"Yeah,
It's a pretty anti-bully show. I
It
mean,
is. It is an
it
anti-bully
is.
show, yeah.
Yeah, even though they're in there, the stance is pretty against it.
well, it's kind of like Roland and I talked about storytelling once, and it's kind of like you hear that saying, subvert your expectations, which is like
Yeah,
to a certain franchise in the galaxy far, far away, with varying success, and I think we were talking about it, and it was like it's kind of like like Roland said, on a good day, it's like imagine getting a bowl of ice cream, and somebody puts a banana on top, and it's a banana split, right?
yeah,
That's subverting your expectations in a good way. Whereas other franchises, it's like you get a bowl of ice cream and then somebody kicks you in the groin, and that's not a good subversion of expectations. But Cobra Kai subverts it in the right way.
Yeah.
The Johnny character is hilarious. Some of his one-liners absolutely just kill me. Yeah, the guy, and I saw the guy who played Johnny at a convention.
Oh, yeah.
I never get anything signed. I just go into the celebrity area and go look around. I'm like, I know that guy, I know that guy in that league, because you don't want to get.
You just look at him.
I just basically look. I'm like, oh, there he is. Because they go like, do you want to get stuff signed that costs money? I'm like, nah, I don't really want to.
That's
But I
kind
can see him.
that's kind of stalkery of you, isn't it?
Isn't it though? I kind of just think,
Hey,
he
look,
knows,
that's the dude that does this.
Look, I don't see any reason. They didn't say you couldn't use binoculars in the convention, so I don't see any.
Are you sure you used them in the convention, or
Yeah, I was hiding behind that mobile bush I took in with me.
and standing across the street looking in their hotel window?
Yeah, so once you steady yourself hanging from the rope from the building across, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of weird. Like I see celebrities and I'm like, people like, you should go meet him. I'm like, well, I saw him in a movie. Like I saw John Cusack and his sister Joan, and I'm a big fan of John Cusack. You should go say hi to him. What would I say to these people?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're just people. I mean, they star in a movie, but it doesn't mean I know them.
Yeah.
So.
I really like your stuff.
Yeah, so I'm just like,
you did a really good job playing that thing on that thing.
Yeah, I just never know what to say. So I'm like, no, I saw him.
Well,
I've seen lots of famous people, but I've never met many of them. We did meet Anthony Michael Hall and the other guy from Weird Science. They had like the whole cast from Weird Science. We did meet them in person and talk to them, and they're both really nice. So.
Yeah, it was I heard somebody say on a podcast that that like their solution is when they go and talk to a celebrity, they say, I appreciate, and they pick the worst role that they've ever done or the most and that it kind of breaks the ice. So the guy was saying he went to see Frank Langella, the acclaimed actor, and he goes, I'm a big fan of your work, and he goes, oh, thank you. He goes, I loved you in the Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren. Frank Langella was like, "Hey, f off," but it
oh no,
but I mean, like in a playful,
he got the joke.
Yeah, and it kind of broke. And I think he said like there's another actor, Steve Zahn, and he went to Steve Zahn, and he's like, "Oh, I love your work," and he goes, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "Yeah, I loved it when you were in Red Tide for Crimson Tide for like 5 minutes, and then got hit in the head with an explosion and died." Just broke the ice. Wubba's chiming in. Wubba's saying he's waiting.
Yeah, where's Wubba?
I know. I told him to come in. But he says he's waiting for Lucifer season 5, part 2. And Jennifer Luder says, "I do the same. Roland intimidates me. LOL."
What?
There is no reason for you to be intimidated by Roland.
No,
Yeah.
I just saw her like 4 hours ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, imitates. Oh, thank you.
I mean,
that was Brett. Brett was explaining that imitates, not intimidates. That's
because I was just saying Roland's easy, man. He's just always weak on his left. Just go to the right, and he's just take him down, just gut punch him.
And Jennifer also says, "You should have seen me when I met Spock. I was a mess." And that's probably because he's Leonard Nimoy, not Spock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I met Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi, when I was like 6 years old.
Oh, that's cool.
And I
That-
was in Hawaii, and he was outside of a movie theater, and he was doing signatures. And at 6 years old, right, the way you interpret this is like, this is Mr. Miyagi. And I'll never forget, I gave him, he had like a headshot that he was signing. He goes, okay, who do I make this out to? Curtis. He goes, how do you spell that? I said, K. And he looks at me, he's looking right in my eyes. And he goes, okay, K. And then I just froze up. I go, K. And he looks at me, he goes, yes, K. And I, K. And then he's like, okay. And then I go, oh, KURTRS. And everybody started laughing. But I was so intimidated because like, Mr. Miyagi was staring in my eyes. I didn't know what to do.
He's such a funny guy in real life. Like
You should
Pat
have said
Morita.
wax on, wax off.
Yeah. But in real life, you see him outside. It's so funny because you hear his original voice, and he's got like just a straight American accent. He's just like the lowest key guy. Every time I see enemies, he's just like this sort of matter of fact.
There's a documentary coming out about him, and there's all
Really?
this that's really out there. Like supposedly one of the things they say in the trailers, the first 9 years of his life, he was in a cast from the waist down. He couldn't
wow.
walk because of some health issues.
Wow.
And then as soon as he got out of the cast, he immediately went into the Japanese internment camps. That was how he lived his childhood.
Oh
Wow.
So he had I'm really curious about this documentary, but it sounds like he had a really, really rough life.
I think the one celebrity I didn't see him. I saw his show, and I got kind of starstruck. They usually don't get starstruck. It was George Carlin. I'm a huge George Carlin fan. So when I got to see him a year or two before he passed, that was huge for me. Again, he would be the one that would probably be the one. If I met him, I would be tongue tied. The other one, strange enough, I'd be tongue tied. This is really weird. Is Olivia Newton-John. I had a huge crush on her, and even seeing her today, I'd be like, you're Miss Newton, right? Yeah, I would be tongue tied with her. So
Yeah, I think the closest I ever came was meeting Geezer Butler when he came into the offices at Malibu, because I was not expecting him there.
yeah,
You know, it was just a total. Someone said, "Hey man, Geezer Butler's here." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, Geezer Butler's here." I'm like, "Geezer Butler, like Black Sabbath Geezer Butler?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, Black what is in the office?" They're like, "Yeah." And of course, I'm at Malibu offices. I'm dressed in short pants and, and a t-shirt that I bought from my one trip to Tijuana that had a big fat woman and a big butt crack, and it said "crack kills."
Oh God.
And my hair was really long, and it was in a ponytail, and I'm like, I gotta meet Geezer. But I actually have a photograph of that, and I'm standing there with my hands in my short pants pockets going, I'm meeting Geezer Butler.
Oh, that is so funny.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if I met anyone, any comic. I think the one, strangely enough, the one guy got kind of tongue tied because he surprised me. Was Larry Stroman. I didn't expect it. He's like he's like my favorite artist. I walk by and I'm like, is that Larry Stroman? And I was like, I came up and I'm like, he was kind of he was fun. He's kind of a grumpy guy, but I kind of took it in stride because that was fun. He's drawing. I'm like, dude, I love your art. And he's like, oh, thanks. I'm like, I love your Alien Legion, all that. He's like, oh yeah, I'd love to do more. And I'm like, I was looking at your artwork today. You're just amazing. He's like, yeah, cool. Like he just took it all in stride. I'm just gushing him. He's like, yeah, whatever, kid. Bye. He was a nice guy. He was a really nice guy, but it was just, he surprised me. I didn't expect to walk by his table. So I was like, oh my God, that's the Romans. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, you don't think past that first interaction, right? You know what you're going to say. And then after that, like we were at Comic-Con a couple of years back, and we got to go to the Conan O'Brien show where they had the whole cast of Breaking Bad, right? And so it was cool. And then we're leaving, my wife and I are leaving, and we're about to cross the street, and the caravan of all the stars goes by us. So all these limos are going by, and you see Bryan Cranston going by the limo, he's waving to everybody. And then Aaron Paul, the guy that plays Jesse on the Breaking Bad show, the co-star, his car comes up and stops right in front of me because it can't go further. It's in traffic. So I'm waving at him, and he's waving at me, and I'm waving at him, he's waving at me, and his car isn't moving. And then it was just like, I don't know what else to do, so we just kind of. I couldn't cross the street.
So the whole time they're just like this.
Yeah, it was like this, and then after this was done, it was just like, I got nothing else for you, man. You know. Wubba's chiming in. Wubba's saying the reason that he's not here is getting this cover redo done. So he says he believes it counts for a hall pass. So
Yeah, hall pass.
Excuses.
And-
Wubba's like, no. Wubba's really like, I didn't read anything in 2020.
I know.
I got to give a shout out to Wubba because I posted my first drawing for my comic book, and within a couple of minutes I got a message from Wubba. Wubba goes, "Hey, I can draw your character if you want." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "Do you have reference?" Well, for those of you that know me, I've been doing nothing but concept.
Yeah, you're like, here's this 3 gigabyte reference folder here.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I went out with my wife for a little bit and we came back and he already had it done. And it was like,
What?
yeah, and it was so cool because
Wow.
I had just been talking with my wife the week before. I saw a video on YouTube about a video game that I designed all the characters for. It came out, some guy in Britain did a whole review about the video game and my characters and even talked about me in the video, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and what was really
Wow.
cool is it's a character I created in like 1996, and somebody redid the character design, like redrew it for the thumbnail for the YouTube video. So for that, it took me about almost 30 years to get somebody to do a fan art of something that I created, and I got Wubba to do a professional art piece of something I created within like 3 minutes. So,
That's cool.
yeah, so I was really psyched, and I'm gonna share it online, but Wubba did a great job.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've got any fan art. I've had my friends. I actually have gotten a cosplayer of my stuff. Blew me away. And I don't know if I've told. So I do kids books besides comic books, and there was a little boy that dressed up as one of my main character for my kids book for his school. It was like your favorite character in the kids book, and he chose mine, and I had the picture, and I was just like, kind of made like the entire reason I made the book. I was like, oh, that's awesome that he was like elementary and he dressed up my character, and I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so
I think in this day and age and I'm sorry, Curtis, I'm hijacking it. I think in this day and age for me, I think that's one of the things that it's like, what do you wish for in your book? I think it'd be cool to see people dressing up as, the characters that I work on as cosplay, because that's so, there's so much of that going on now at conventions. I just think, yeah, it would be cool. It'd be cool. Oh, look, you dressed up as Mouse. How cool is that?
that somebody actually went out of their way to make the costume.
Yes.
Thing.
Right.
Which, it was pretty humbling. I mean, it's you know, when you
I
finally
imagine.
experience it, it's just kind of like, oh, wow, that's cool.
That's
I'm
really
not worthy. That's that sort of thing you think. But yeah.
Wubba just chimed in again. He said that he did read this year. He read the Darth Bane trilogy.
Oh, cool.
Elric, Steel Air Souls. I love the Elric books.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, that's so good. And he says, oh, and the Cat and Mouse script.
Well, that's all that matters anyway.
Finish with the best.
Yeah.
So
I tell you what was doing some good stuff on Cat and Mouse.
Yeah.
And I just got an email from him. He's like, I just uploaded. Well, I said I just got an email. Obviously, I've been at a convention all day today, so I just got a message from him that said I uploaded page. I think he said 18. 18 is in the Dropbox, and I went, wait a minute. Okay, I don't do math very well. That's 19, 20, 21, 22. Holy crap, dude's 4 pages away from the end of the book. Ah!
That's great. How was the convention? Tell us about how it was the Land Comic Con.
Listen, it was so good. It started at 10, ended at 4. No, it was good hours. It was packed from opening door until about 2:00. And I'm you guys know me enough. I'm standing up there talking the whole time, and we sold our first Silverline poster today.
Awesome.
Yep, it was very, very cool. Brent Larson was there with me, and so he was there selling and signing Kalis, and I think he did pretty well as well. But there was a lot, and for those of you who these things matter, I'm not saying everybody does. Everybody seemed to be wearing masks. There was sanitize. Oh, I brought this big monstrosity, right? There was because the convention organizer, who's an awesome dude, right? He asked all the vendors and people who were at a table. He said, "Please bring hand sanitizer and put it on your table."
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to bring hand sanitizer for it, but I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. So we put it there, and I actually saw people. They would walk by and they would get some hand sanitizer and wipe it on their hands. I'm like, and then they just walk right past the table. But everybody was everyone was behaving as far as now social distancing.
That's hard to do in there because
It
it's
is. Yeah.
Yeah, but the mask, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, everybody had on mask. Everybody was using the hand sanitizer. It looked like pretty generously. It didn't look like anybody was, because I saw it was on like every table, and like I said, I saw several people come by our table, get it, and not even stop at our table. So I think they were doing that kind of everywhere. So
It was
You
a
should have been like a pitch for a squeeze.
Yeah.
Was it? It's a one-day
I got
show?
listen. I don't know if I can show this to you, y'all. I got the greatest. We're gonna use this on one of our podcasts or one of our streams. I got the great. You guys are gonna love this. It's not gonna be. Come on, stupid thing. This is why I don't carry these things. I get you on.
Well, while you're looking for that, Wubba chimed in. He said he's waiting for Cat and Mouse script number 2.
Shh, don't say that so loud.
And Jennifer Luders chimed in. She said the convention was really good. She sold 2 framed originals, and she said to Roland, "Sorry, I didn't like the piece."
Okay, here we go. So
right. Wubba's. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try to carefully do this. Put my microphone up here so it can be. So hopefully you can hear it, because it's not going to be easy. Now, I'm going to hold this up here.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
You gotta look at the camera and say it loud. Make my Silverline! Thank you. That is perfect.
Is that not cool?
Okay, yeah, that's he outdid all of us. Okay.
You need to put that at the end of every show.
Well, I did. I asked the mom, because the grandfather was there, and he and I were talking a bunch, and then the kid did it right, because I gave him one of the bracelets,
Yeah,
and I said, "Do you know what it says?" And he said, "No, what does it say?" And I said, "It says make mine Silverline." And he went, "Make mine Silverline." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can I record that?" And then I recorded it. And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can I use this?" He goes, "Well, let me go ask his mom." So he went and got his mom, right? And come over and she told her what happened. She goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "I'm a cosplayer. Go ahead and use it. Go ahead and use it." I'm like, I need to make sure you're saying yes, I can put this on my stream. Yeah, go ahead. I'm like, I'm gonna do it then. Like, yeah, kid, you just won the convention today.
Yeah. We try to say it with enthusiasm when we go like, "Make mine." What was that? Word again? Well, down there like, "Make mine."
Yeah. Somebody.
That's pretty good.
You guys will appreciate this. Somebody today, because we hand these out, right? Somebody today looked at it and goes, "Make mine Marvel." That was a thing, right? That was to make mine Marvel. I'm like, that's the point. I was much nicer, but I'm like, duh, that's the whole point, you idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, you don't get one, give it back.
Yeah.
You should have said to me, she said, "Well, here's your no prize."
Yeah.
Were there a lot of vendors there today? I mean, as far as was it a pretty decent show?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a huge show,
Yeah.
but it's probably okay. Let me try to put it in perspective here. You know, size of like a basketball gym, right? Just the floor. Okay. So just the floor. It's probably about 5 floors.
Okay.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was pretty sizable.
The
smallest lots of comics. I bought some dollar books. Let's see if I can get to them.
Yeah, because sometimes the smaller shows, if you show up with like strutting your stuff at smaller shows, you can get a lot of business because they're smaller. Sometimes if the shows are bigger, you get lost in the crowd.
Yes, that's true.
So I'm jealous you got to go to conventions. We don't have them up here yet.
That's because I live in Florida, dude. We're like,
what's that supposed
we're
to mean?
like-
You got something against Washington State? No, that's
Yeah.
fine. Whatever.
no, it's we're like
No, it's
plague.
okay.
No, we're like plague. What plague? Let's go! Woohoo!
Yeah, that's
So-
pretty much.
They're
Got me,
riding out on crocodiles.
Yeah, got me an old
That's
War of the
cool.
Worlds. Yep, got me an old. What happened?
Scout. Oh,
Oh,
Barbara's
okay,
taking
all
over
right,
your
Barb.
stream.
So I got me an old Scout. I was like, I did something. Oh, look at that!
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh yeah. That's I'm coloring it, so I figure I just throw it up there.
Oh, I was gonna say, whoa, who's doing this?
I saw Barb took a minute off, so I figured I'd
Okay,
chime in.
and then I got Omega.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's old Steve Gerber.
Nice.
So yeah, I can't resist the dollar boxes.
You never know what you're gonna find in there.
Well, that's it. And I didn't get a chance to shop as much as I wanted to. I really wanted to shop more, but I mean, it's good because it means that I was busy. So
It's funny after going to conventions, starting to go into conventions more. It feels weird to actually go to a convention just to go as a somebody to shop and hang out. You feel like you need to get back to your table or something, but you don't have to. You can just relax and wander around.
yeah.
That's cool.
I like your character, Curtis.
I know.
And it's
cool,
funny. I
right?
didn't. So it's yellow and black. That's pretty
Yeah.
striking. Are there any other colors
No,
besides?
and that's kind of it's almost like a ninja kind of kung fu kind of character.
Mhm.
So I had played with all sorts of colors, but I kind of just figured those were kind of popped,
Yeah. Well, they're like the most contrasting colors, black and yellow.
Yeah, like traffic signs, So
Yeah.
yeah,
Traffic sign.
Is that his battle cry when he jumps into battle? Does he yell "yield" or something?
Yield.
yeah, exactly. But yeah,
Slow to traffic, villain.
Little traffic. Sharp curve ahead. That's
Foul
what it is.
beast.
yeah, Tommy, man, he blew my socks off. I was so happy when he sent it. I was like I said, I was more happy with this than my PS5, and I'm very happy with my PS5.
Has anybody on here ever had their stuff inked or colored by somebody and it turned out really bad and he didn't have the heart to tell them?
Ooh, well, should you say that on the live stream?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, we are
I'm
live.
not gonna name names,
not
but
people,
I mean,
not naming names.
I've
Just-
been doing this for over 30 years, so there's not going to be, total happiness over the course of 30 years.
Yeah.
So you're gonna run into some duds at some point, but I'm not gonna name names.
Yeah, I would never name it. There was one I had years ago. Somebody painted one of my things, and I did all this detail, and he made it all like dark and kind of focused. And I'm like, yeah, but you painted all over my drawing. It's all dark now. I mean, where is it?
Yeah, I tell you, one of the most frustrating things as an editor was dealing with some of the prima donna pencilers. Barb's like, yeah, and, it wasn't unusual that you'd get a penciler and then you'd send out, oh, this I know this inker would look good over that, right? Because that's part of your job as an editor, right? Now, you're not always right, but you're like, oh, and then you get it back, and you're like, holy crap, look at this, it looks so good, and you send it to the penciler, knowing that they're just going to jump up and down. They're going to, yeah, he doesn't get me. Like, what the heck does that even mean? He doesn't get me, right? What do you mean he doesn't get you? This looks fantastic. Yeah, I don't like his lines on over my pencil. He just doesn't get what I'm trying to do. And I'm like, dude, everybody in the office loves this. Yeah. Who else can you talk to about inking my stuff? Oh yeah.
I recently I submitted a sample years and years ago over Sal Valuto, over a book he was doing for DC, and submitted it for consideration to get the job. And I did not get the job. And about a year ago, I ran across that sample and I sent it to Sal. And he's like, oh my God, why didn't you get this job? I'm like, I love it, he says.
Well,
It's kind of like I heard Mike Grell. He had issues with inkers in general, and I heard there were stories like sometimes inkers, he'd only do like 40% of the work, and the inker would do the other 60.
Yeah.
Well, and you've got to also realize that editors have had their own stables too at DC
Yeah.
and Marvel.
Oh yeah.
They had their favorites as well. So even if my inks were obviously what Sal loved them, and he goes, I don't know why you weren't picked to ink this, because these are beautiful, but I didn't have the clout. I didn't have the in.
Yeah.
And a lot of editors had their own stables of favorites that they'd like to go to.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, and I know we talked about this here on the stream before. I know we talked about it a bunch today at the show. Is like, a lot of times fans will look at art, will look at comics, and they're like, well, why? And I'm going to use any names, but they're like, why is this artist getting work, but this artist over here is really, really, really good? Why is that artist not getting any work? Well, the answer is often as simple as that artist who's really, really good that you really, really love cannot ever make a deadline. Right. And so it's like, yeah, that may look beautiful and it may look good, and the editor might really, really want to use them, but the editor also has to get a book out. Yep. And so
it's a business.
It is a business, and people forget that.
Yeah.
Wubba just chimed in. He said I'm doing a good job, so thanks, Wubba. And he liked drawing the character, and he says in regards to working with people that it doesn't work out, he said he pleads the fifth. So
yeah.
So is this picture the one you're doing? Is this the one Wubba did, or is this your artwork, Curtis?
No, this is my drawing. This is it's kind of like a pinup that I did, just
with cat and mouse and
just more of an announcement kind of pinup, So yeah.
Do you think you'd use this for one of the covers?
Maybe or something promoting. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think like a variant cover, maybe like a poster or something. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Are you suggesting Curtis put cat and mouse in his story?
It almost looks. I mean, the way they have them in there, it's almost like.
Maybe I can have a character there sometime.
It seems to fit. They both have the martial arts background or whatever, and I don't know. I mean, this is. I mean, I think I've seen your concept sketches, but this is the first like pinup I've seen of. It's Ghost Face Shadow Ghost. Okay, and but he's with the other characters. I don't think I've seen a picture of him alone. So now I'm starting to think like, yeah, maybe he should team up with them.
I've got an old illustration Curtis did of Cat and Mouse. Curtis is like, no, Roland, we're friends. Don't do this.
I worked really hard to remove myself from that drawing. So.
Yeah.
Then we have to see it.
Yeah, I know.
That being said, I was telling Roland it was like an exciting moment for me, because I haven't really shared any of the stuff that I've been working on. I've been developing this for a long time. So to be able to have Roland help me, kind of guide me with the story and kind of give me advice. Cat and Mouse was one of my favorite comic books growing up. And then to be able to draw Cat and Mouse in this drawing and get Tommy to ink it, or, Tommy, Barb, all these people I've known for decades now. It's like, I'm still a fan, deep down. So it's a great experience.
Well, and I can't speak for everyone, but I think we're all still fans, and I think that's kind of why we're here every Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think the thing too is it's like, meeting your favorite heroes and stuff. It's like, how many times have you met a celebrity or an artist or creator, and you realize that you like their creation not as much as you like them less than their creation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy. I plead the fifth on that one too.
I think with the Silverline crew, it's rewarding, and everybody is really cool, and that's not common.
Yeah. I didn't want to say anything to you, Curtis, but
Well, and I got to talk about that a little bit. I got to brag on you guys tonight, or today at the show. It's like, we were talking about, one guy was talking about his stuff, and is like, he can't just, he can't seem to build excitement and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I think part of what is working, it seems to me, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think part of what's working with Silverline is that, we're quote unquote meeting regularly.
Yeah.
We meet every Sunday night, and we hang out. And we stream it, of course, but we meet every Sunday night and we hang out. Wednesday Wham, these guys meet every Wednesday, and sometimes we have some, some crossover stuff. But we hang out and we talk shop, we talk comics, we have fun. This is what I imagine the bullpen might have been like in the 60s, and 70s. You know, we get to talk about that thing that we enjoy, as well as some of, you know, a bunch of other things while we're doing it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely reminds me of being like in an art studio and stuff, hanging out with your friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I imagine this is what the bullpens are too. Or I mean, we're even kind of almost replacing. I guess nowadays this would be like to replace someone like hanging out in the comic shop, which a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yeah.
would do that. But now the comic shops can't do that as much. So
Well, it's like Roland and I were talking. We always harken back to Malibu because that was such a great time.
Yeah.
And you try not, you want to recapture the magic of something, knowing that you can't replicate the exact same scenario.
Right.
But I will say that knowing you folks and meeting once a week and doing all this stuff on Silverline, I mean, it's that same kind of magic, and that it's very special, and it's let's say greater than the sum of the equal parts. I don't know why.
yeah,
Maybe it's because you guys are awesome, but it's
Yeah.
really really fun.
yeah, I look forward to this every week.
Yeah.
The Sunday, hanging out with you guys. I mean, I have some friends. I actually have a friend who's actually starting to get into comics, and I told him, I said, like, well, I'm going to bring over a bunch of Silverline comics for him,
Cool. Yeah.
and I'm going to pimp us to him. And so
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Big Daddy.
But
and I tell him, I'm like, hey man, the first one's always free, but
that's right. Yeah.
got to pay afterwards,
Uh-huh.
If you like the cool
Well, and that's why, that's kind of why, I want us to grow one reader at a time. I know that we do the variants and all that kind of stuff, and me personally, I'm not really chasing the collectors. I mean, it's with print on demand and Kablam, my relationship with Kablam is so easy to do, so there's no reason not to do it. But I want us to get readers. I want us to get readers who are, like I've kind of heard before, is that, people said, "Man, I read Divinity. When's the second issue coming out?" They want it, and that's to me, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear people saying, "Hey, when's that second issue coming? When are you guys gonna do that?" Somebody asked me about Friar Rush today, and I'm like, well, I think John heard me talking about it, right? Because he said, hey, he said,
well, I answered you. I answered you this morning at 5:00 in the morning.
Oh, well, I woke up this morning and I was out the door. I didn't check any emails or messages or anything like that. So when we're doing it,
here's page 24 right here.
Woohoo! That's very cool. So yeah. So there's the answer, and I think I was able to say it live. So, yeah, that to me, that excites me that people are saying, when's the next one coming out? I'm ready for the next one.
Well, I think the cool thing is everybody here, of course, it sounds kind of redundant, but likes to make comic books, but we're really here just to make comic books. There's no agenda, no message other than we like comic books and we're here to make comic books. And
when I'm trying to overtake the world, you guys got to tell me this stuff. I got to
go. well,
Pinky in the Brain.
Has everybody seen Dr. Horrible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my favorite quotes from there is, he goes, "The world is a mess and I just need to rule it."
I know. It'll be easy.
It's one of my favorite quotes from that thing.
I still remember the I don't know. I was thinking of something. I was trying to think of something. No, I'm thinking that's my problem. I get in trouble with thinking.
Yeah.
We got a couple of things in the chat here. What Wubba says, Shadow Ghost, Cat and Mouse, and Sniper Rook should throw down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ultimate street level Silverline battle.
Man, no kidding.
Jennifer Luter says, what do you think? What do you pros think of someone using traditional art to make a comic book?
I love that stuff. I've seen people. I've checked out some comics from the library. Strange enough, when I go to the library, I found tons of comics that I never find in comic stores, and I don't know why. But I found one that was using almost like cubism type art for the comic, just really different things. So I've seen it done, and it's really cool effects. Sometimes people do some really amazing stuff.
I would say define traditional art.
Yeah, I would say, what does that mean exactly? I'm not really sure.
Back when I was working with innovation, there was a book interview with a vampire, Anne Rice's, that was fully painted. It was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the guy that did it, although he's on my friends list.
Curtis, you remember we did Necroscope with Brian Lumley's Necroscope. I think Martin Powell did the adaptations. Fully painted by Derek Gross.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I remember too, there was a really cool Havoc and Wolverine miniseries called Meltdown that was all done in watercolor.
Yeah. I will confess I'm not a huge fan of painted comics. I don't mind the painted covers. Like the Boris cover was great. Dave Dorman does some fantastic, painted covers. Obviously,
Alex Ross.
I was going there. Obviously, him. But even Alex Ross's interior work, I'm just not a big fan of it.
Yeah. It's go ahead.
No, I should say you can look at it. You can take elements and you can say this is really beautiful, but it's like I find it very stiff, very posed, and I just don't like it very much for the interior work.
Yeah, it's impressive somebody could do that. I think one of the only people that paint comics that I like is Dan Burrington, and he does his own series called Nocturnals.
Yeah, he did that with Malibu.
Yeah, he's a very loose painter though, which I think gives that sort of energy. I mean, and Alex Ross is a very, tight painter.
Photorealistic, I would say.
Right, and I like
models,
Dan Burrington pushing those sort of like that looseness of stuff that I thought was almost like watercolor and acrylic. I'm not sure his complete medium, but he was one that actually really did like his artwork. Yeah, and I totally forgot the original Nocturnals was Malibu, wasn't it? Yeah,
I know Simone paints all his. When he did Wolverine and X-Men, and Astonishing X-Men, he painted all that. He paints all his.
There was a guy like digitally painted or traditionally.
No, he traditionally paints.
Okay.
And Riccardo Franchetti, he paints everything that he does. Like he's working on The Last God, or what is it? Is it The Last God? He's done. He's in. Oh crap! Where is it? I think it's The Last God. I mean, his art, it's insane.
I started out as a painter. That's how I got hired.
Yeah, you said that. It was acrylic, right?
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. That's how you got with ElfQuest.
Yep, I was hired by Warp Graphics to do a convention piece for them as an acrylic painter, and from that I morphed into doing inking. So I mean, if you see painting type techniques in my coloring, that's why.
Yeah, I especially in the sky, the way he did the sky, I can see that. The other one, there was a book I read them from the library. I need to buy them called Beasts of Burden by Dark Horse, and I'm gonna say I think Jill Thompson has something to do with them. But these animals, but that one looks hand painted. Maybe it could be digital. Digital painting can sometimes mimic pretty well traditional.
Yeah.
But I really like that one. But I think I'm with Roland. I usually like a looser, more energetic style. I'm actually starting to enjoy comics that actually stray more towards flat colors, like the way Curtis is like the two-tone colors. That's the way I color my stuff a lot, and I really enjoy that. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that anime kind of, vibe.
That's the stuff that I really enjoy.
Oh, we got the chat's been we got quite a few messages, so let me just chime in here, guys. So Quentin J. Bedwell says the streams. Yeah, he says the streams have definitely got me excited about the entire operation, the camaraderie and zero ego clashes. Well, you haven't seen the after show.
Yeah, they run me out of here.
Yeah. And Quentin, I haven't forgotten about you. I know that I got a folder to look at, so please know that.
And
the stuff Roland says about me, we can't air that.
Yeah, the alone, right?
And I'm surprised Aaron's still here every Sunday.
I just like the abuse. I enjoy it.
Wubba says that he's, as far as traditional art, he's all for it. For Jennifer, he says it's just harder to do lately when balancing a regular day job. Jennifer says that she says I use color pencil, traditional ink using quill pen and twigs, and watercolor with illustration pen or mixed media. Yeah.
I will say about this, Divinity, the first issue was colored very, very 1980s traditional, gray line, blue line kind of thing. In that Steve Matson colored with markers and dyes and pencils, and you could look a lot of that stuff from the 1980s that was colored that way. I think it's still, I think Divinity #1 is a proof that it can still work today.
Yeah.
Because what he did was colored it that way and then just scanned it in, and I think he tweaked it. I think his daughter tweaked it a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what they did. But I think with our technology today, if that is the way you color, you could still do that.
Yeah. I think you can. I mean, I know I draw, and if I ink my comics, like when I ink my kids' books, I do that by hand. Eventually, I'll go completely digital, I would assume. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of staving off the paycheck to get a Cintiq. I know the iPads work, but to get a Cintiq, well, I'm like, that's a lot of money. I can still do it by hand. But digital, uh, I think if you could do traditional, I still think there's a difference. Like I noticed when I saw Divinity 1, I mean, I thought it looked great color wise. I mean, you could see it almost kind of made me miss, like kind of like tear up, like I miss the good old days when I used to do this. You know?
As far as inking traditional, yeah, I mean I've done that for 30 years and I still do, although I find it faster to do it digitally now.
Yeah, and I think also that trade-off we've talked about before, where like if you want to sell pages,
right?
That sort of stuff.
To me, I love that idea. I love that you guys can say, the artist can say, hey, this is probably a page that somebody might be interested in owning the physical, the original.
Right.
So I'm going to do it in the traditional media where, this is a page of the 3 guys walking down the street. So,
yeah,
I'm just going to do it digitally.
Yeah, I have a tendency to mix the issues up. I'll pull out 4 or 5 pages that are pretty dynamic, and I'll ink those by hand.
Yeah.
And I think that's perfect. I think that's great.
And I'll go to town digitally with the rest because I can do it like twice the speed as I can do it by hand.
I thought about getting an iPad because I know that's probably it seems like a very good solution if you can't do a Cintiq or whatever. The iPad with the Procreate seems to be a more cost-effective solution to that. So,
Wubba agrees that Dan Brereton's amazing. He also likes Simon Beasley.
Beasley, yeah.
Quentin J. Bertle says, me neither. I like the classic inks. It just jumps out and just makes the entire medium to me now, but I don't mind painterly colors. And Jennifer also says, it almost looks like a children's book style. Interesting. She's trying to figure out if it's okay if I fit. Don't buy a Cintiq. I use a Surface 7 or an X Pen on the computer. Both much cheaper and just
okay, cool. All right, I have to look in. I know there's some good alternatives out there. I would say as far as like if you're
yeah,
because it seemed like oh yeah, I saw that cover earlier. That was awesome.
Yeah, this is going to be on the Kickstarter at some point.
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna try to get those added tomorrow.
I would say if you can do traditional and it works and you like it, I think in independent comics, if you could stand out, if your story fits and stand out, go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think there's things that are stylistic or based on necessity. I mean, this, now this is an artistic decision to do something like how I'm doing it very graphically. It's not necessary. In fact, you can do things even, watercolor pencils, like she was saying. This is all made up because it was required because of the printing process back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think also a good example of somebody who I think bucked trends in the independent field a little bit was the guy who did Mouse Guard, because he pushed a little more of this, not sort of realistic, but more of this child book aesthetic with the painting and the art. And then of course he actually changed the actual format. It was more of a square book, like a kid's book that was a comic book. So he actually became really popular. So I think if you do it right and the artwork fits the story and everything, yeah, I definitely would push it. Do what fits the story and what you like.
I have some of his original art up on my wall here.
Do you? Yeah. I don't know what happened to him. He kept doing stuff, and then all of a sudden, he just kind of, I don't know if he went into role-playing games or whatever. Haven't seen any new Mouse Guard stuff for a good while. At least not from him.
There's another one kind of along those lines, talking about painting, a book called Scurry. Have you guys seen that? It's an independent book.
No.
And it's fully painted. My problems with Scurry, and of course, we're not doing reviews. My problems with Scurry are story related.
Okay.
But it's a good looking book. It's a good looking book, and it's all. If I'm not mistaken, I had to go get it. It's fully painted, and I don't know whether it's digital or traditional or not. But it has that painted look on the page.
Computers are getting good enough that I can't necessarily tell. Some I can, but I can't always tell. It used to be you could tell right away, but not anymore. Sometimes the telltale way to give away like digital inks is strangely enough sometimes where the lines don't match. Like if you look at Shadow Ghost's hat right here, like in some of the corners of the square in the hat, like the lines don't completely match up, which is a style. It's a style, but you can kind of tell that's a telltale sign of a digital ink line instead of a traditional ink line, because most traditional ink lines will start from that point and connect them, if that makes any sense. That's some things where I've seen in digital inks. I'm like, okay, that's digitally inked.
Huh, interesting. I don't know that I would have ever caught that.
Yeah, like the lines kind of overlap sometimes, don't always connect that perfectly. So
Welba chimes in. He says, I don't sell pages, so the hand-done pages will be Silverline Kickstarter perks.
Oh, that's sweet. Excellent.
nice.
Yeah. And Jennifer Luder says she owns all those. I think she was talking about the
Mouse guard.
Mouse guard, yeah. It's a good example of somebody who's bucking trends and really made it successful.
Yeah. I do too. I have them all.
I'm much more, if you're doing independent stuff, do something different or unique. So many, I think, people independent try to chase, what's mainstream and kind of get lost in the shuffle of the mainstream. And if you can stand out more, I think that's a little more power to you. It could be a higher risk, but if it pays off, it could be a bigger payoff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying with Divinity. I mean, I'm kind of merging two different kind of storytelling ideas, that the whole action genre and a soap opera genre.
Yeah, which, strange enough, the X-Men were perfect. He was classic at doing that, which you don't see a lot of books do that now, but back in the day, that was a big hook. If you can pull that off, it is a hook. So I'm just watching Curtis color.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun to color something and then like to draw it, then have somebody can jump back to the colors, because it's kind of like reinterpreted,
Yeah.
So Curtis, this is the first time you've actually streamed art.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hiding in the back, lurking in the background this whole time.
Well, we just got to make sure this is not the last time.
No, I'm busy these days, so I'd be
cool.
Yeah, I haven't done it very often either.
Yeah.
No, you haven't. You were a bit gun shy early on.
I am. I still am.
But yeah. Oh, I thought it was because we felt like we were all just sitting around chatting that made you a little bit more comfortable.
Nah, there wasn't anybody else available, so I jumped in.
She took one for the team.
I did.
Yeah.
I am nervous about working in front of people. I have a tendency to.
Barb's like took one for the team. I took that 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 one for the team.
I remember I used to have a comeback for every time somebody asked me what I was drawing. I'm not saying it was the nicest comeback, but I'm saying I said it. Everybody asked me what I was drawing. It's like, who are you drawing? What are you drawing? I'd always say your mom. And just have that sort of look on their face. And I'm like, well, you asked. Because that one was like, if you can't tell what I'm drawing, then I guess I failed in a way. Unless the drawing's really early, and then that's different.
I have performance anxiety. I'm sure you guys know what that is.
Oh yeah.
Barb, why would you say that?
Well, I hope all the kids are put together.
I'm sure you guys know what that is.
Oh man, you can't throw stuff out there like that. Nah, I can't. No comeback to that, but God knows I have a lot.
But we don't want to get kicked off YouTube again. I already did that once.
Yeah, I think you're trying to get us off you.
Yeah, I know.
If you haven't put your kids to bed, now is the time.
Yeah. This is the after hours show now.
Silverline Comics after dark.
Oh man.
Loba chimed in. He said, the belt on the Shadow Ghost is a pain. Yes, I agree. It was funny when I was designing the character, Loba. I was looking at some of the best character designs, and what I realized is a lot of them, what they'll do is they'll have like a lot of simple parts, and then you have one part that's super complex. Like Batman is actually a fairly simple design, but then his belt is complex. Or if you look at the character designs, Metal Gear Solid, a lot of really good designers do it. So that's kind of what I was going for. I said, okay, I'll make something kind of complex, but the rest of it won't be as hard for me.
I was just thinking of torture him. They don't get out that easy.
Well, but he's still gun shy about live streaming, which you shouldn't be, you know. But
very much.
One thing that I did actually, and kind of like to show how the sausage is made, is I actually, when I colored this, I specifically did the background today before the show and left the characters on, knowing that I would go fast through the characters. That I'm very instinctive on the characters.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I saved that for the live stream, and I did all this stuff in the background, like the color holds and all that, on my own time, you know, outside. So that's the trick I did.
Yeah, I've heard Roberta say that she tries to well, and Tommy too, that they'll try to, if he knows that they're going to go stream, he goes, I'll try to do the boring stuff before and then do the stuff. He goes, and Tommy was talking, he goes, no one wants to see me just go line for buildings, you know. He goes, it's boring. Here's a line, script, line. He goes, people want to see me do the figures, the faces, the arms and stuff.
The finished
stuff.
hair.
Yeah, the hair, yeah.
If Wubit Shy streaming, just tell him, like, look, I laugh at everybody, even Curtis. So I mean, don't take any offense to it.
You know, it's funny. It's all about what you see is just as important as what you don't see. It's like John Wick. My students were talking about this footage of Keanu Reeves training for John Wick, right? And it's all shaking. It's done with the cell phone, and it looks phenomenal. And by looking at it, you think he's the expert marksman, the best martial artist in the world. And I said, well, they said, Sifu, all that footage is real. I said, yes, it is. But what you don't see is how many takes they did, right? Just shot on a cell phone with a shaky camera doesn't mean they had to not do that 20 times before. And they picked that specific cherry moment to show you behind the scenes. You know, it's all a game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're not going to show you that. I mean, that's why they don't show you what, you know, he does a kick or something and trips and falls. I mean, they don't show that.
Yeah. No, totally. But I don't. Quentin said something, but I don't quite follow. Whoa, Salta. I don't know what that means. And Jennifer goes, what? And Wubba praises Barb for her razor sharp wits, and Barb for the win. And Quentin J. Bedwell also makes a smiley face emoji. So I think
I'm gonna have to ask Brett if we can get one of those things. You know what the radios have that they go on the air, that they've got like the 10-second delay or whatever, so that if someone says something, they can go beep, or you know. You have to see if we get that.
Then I'd be driving
only for Barb.
Then I'd be dropping
you do that for me.
Yeah, John, you've done really well, man. You really have. You guys, your conversations with John in live, you're gonna say, "Holy crap! Is this the same guy who streams?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna think. You're gonna say, "Did you just get out of the Marines?"
Look, watch the history of swear words.
Wasn't that? Does it Nick Cage? Like,
yes, and it's awesome.
Okay, that's on Netflix, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I have to check that out.
They open it straight out the gate. F-bomb. Boom.
Well, if you're gonna go for it, go all, you know.
Right?
Go all the way. You know, don't hold back.
Well, you weren't here before we went live,
setting that bar.
Roland.
Oh, really?
And Barb dropped one. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
What we can't see is John's over there. He's got all of our names up there with little ticks by our names.
Like, it's about time. It's about time. All right. Yeah.
Swear jar, swear jar.
Totally blew my whole image of Barb.
Oh
now
my
I expect
God.
her to wear like mohawks and leather jackets and stuff on the thing.
Yeah.
You could tell she's a rebel. I mean, look at that. Look at that face. Look at the way she holds herself. That's yeah. Oh, she's got itches too. Some sort of tick, something.
Yep.
Aaron, run.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm setting Barb up to get his cut off again. It's like, Aaron, shut up. You're gonna get us kicked off on Netflix. She's gonna say something.
Netflix.
YouTube. We
YouTube.
should be on Netflix, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Well, you can't be in this industry for 30 plus years without being a little bit by being a nice, gentle lady. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. It doesn't
I
work
know.
that way. Doesn't work that way. They'd
But
eat
you know
you
how
alive.
hard men work to be completely obnoxious? I mean, you should appreciate the amount of effort and time you go into that.
Aren't they born that way?
Sometimes it takes practice.
Boy, this really strayed.
Best of 2020. There we go.
The best of 2020. This is what happens.
How do the bubbles just stay there?
That's always been a.
Why don't they rise? They're bubbles. Why don't they rise?
What are we looking at?
It's actually glue.
This is the hand sanitizer I took today to the convention, and it's like the bubbles are there and they haven't moved.
It's because
Maybe that's what. Okay, y'all seen Boondock Saints, right?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. The Rocco. When I met Rocco here in Memphis, I went up to talk to him after he was investigating a bottle of hand sanitizer. Maybe that's what he was thinking to himself. He's like, why are the bubbles still there? Of course, I will tell you that his character and how he actually acts in person is the exact same.
Wow.
Yeah, no surprise.
Barb's getting a lot of praise in the chat.
Thank you.
Jennifer Luder says Barb is a ham, LOL. She's a Midwesterner. We have potty mouths.
Yeah. I actually bought a font called Potty Mouth.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to ask what it looks like.
Large, and they're all the same size.
What's all the same size?
My food.
Oh, I'm like, I heard it's all the same size. I'm like, wait, what's all the same size?
That's TMI.
Barb! What?
It's terrible. Just terrible.
You invited her on, Roland. Don't be looking at any of us.
Wait, what time's the clock say? Okay.
Does this mean I
think it is.
Does this mean I get to
maybe
throw
that's
in
why.
just a little bit more? Or Barb gets special privileges?
Well, she hasn't actually used words.
Yeah.
I mean, hers is innuendo.
I can do that.
You may innuendo all you like.
Double entendre.
I'll start volleying them back and forth to Barb.
Well, then we really will get kicked off.
Yeah.
Once is enough.
So, seeing the time, Curtis, I do have to ask. Did you call out Daytona Beach?
We know what we should. Would you please? Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. So we want to shout out to Daytona Beach Comic Con for being one of our sponsors. Fantastic convention that is really sort of Silverline's home convention. And I talked to the organizer today, and he said he was going because he was at DeLand, and said he was going to be in touch with me this week to work out some details. So hopefully we can kind of start planning for we can start planning for Daytona. Silverline as a group there, which is very exciting. So big shout out. We will get a graphic up eventually that we can start putting up that shows Daytona Beach Comic Con, and that's going to be sometime in October-ish. He doesn't have the dates yet, but I think he's probably going to get them pretty quick, because the way he talked to me today is that that was forthcoming. He's not going to get his regular venue, and so I think because of that, he's going to move pretty quickly on something else. So huge shout out to Tom Ropp and Daytona Beach Comic Con.
We should talk about the Kickstarter too.
Yes. Let me refresh again. Make sure that I've got the most recent. It has gone up since I saw it at the convention. Our Kickstarter now stands at 69 backers at $1,859, which is 850, 950, 150, 656, which is 650-ish. I can't do that kind of math. $650 away from our goal. So we have 13 days to go. So we're looking good, but I'm always nervous when we're until we meet goal. I always get nervous. So if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna back it later. Please go ahead and back it. Just pull the trigger, hit back right now, get her done.
So Roland can sleep at night.
That's right. So you saw Barb held up the cover that's done by penciled by Peter Clinton, and Barb inked it. This is going to go up as a reward probably tomorrow. I'm dog tired today, so I'm going to go to bed pretty soon after this thing, and I'm probably going to sleep in late tomorrow, even though I got to get up and start grading. But that will go up there, and John Crowther, who is the creator writer of Teen Beetle, has said he's got some another thing that he wants to add up on there for a couple of rewards, and so we'll get those added tomorrow. Hopefully, probably be later in the day. So if you're one of those kind of saying, well, I kind of got my eye on that cover, look for that later in the day. But please give us a look. What you're talking, we got Teen Beetle #1 and Switchblade #1 remix. Teen Beetle is, in a nutshell, the story of a young teen beetle who drinks the serum that the classic Blue Beetle drank. So it's not a descendant, which is one of the things I always like to do when I'm doing things like that. But he's not a descendant. But they've recreated the serum that the classic Blue Beetle, which is in public domain, by the way, just in case any of you are out there going, how can you get away with that? And so it's all kind of fun like that. This is the first. Teen Beetle is the first of 3 issues, which is really nice because Switchblade is the first of 3 issues. This is the remix edition. Switchblade was published by Silverline in the late 90s. When with traditional printing, it was printed on newsprint, which, if you're familiar with that, is one step above toilet paper. And so we have digitally remastered the artwork, and it has all been colored by Aidan Belcher, who, if you're a fan of Man in the Mask, you will recognize his name. He is the colorist on Man in the Mask, and it looks fantastic. So this is our remix version of Switchblade. It will be a flip book, so you'll get Teen Beetle on one side, flip it over, you're going to get Switchblade on the other. And we've also got some really, really cool variant covers. Peter Clinton, the one that Barb held up, Peter Clinton's done a really cool variant for Teen Beetle, and he also did a really cool variant for Switchblade. Wubba, who's been on the chat, has done a really cool variant for Switchblade, and I'm going to try to update those images. I've noticed that I've gotten messages that the colors have been finished and that kind of thing. So I'm going to try to update those images and get them looking more like what they'll look like when they're printed. So Wubba's got a cool cover up there. C. Michael Lanning has the other variant for Teen Beetle. So there's some really cool stuff to check out. So you guys, and yes, I'm tired. I'm sorry. So you guys check it out. Pledge if you can. If you can't pledge, share it to all your friends, because you got some nerdy geeky friends. Everybody does. Everybody's got a geek in their life, right? That's just the way it is. Everybody's got a geek. Everybody's got a nerd in their life. So share it to them. Tell them to go look at it and consider supporting it. You can get PDFs for those of you who are overseas. If you're really interested in paper copies, which I totally get, just drop me a line and we'll calculate the cost. It's super expensive to ship overseas, which is why we don't do it. But I'll drop something to you. I'll tell these guys here. One idea I've had, which I've been trying to look into, and I've tried for one section. I have looked to see if we could find a Kablam equivalent in the UK so that we could print books from there and ship them. That's what we could do here with Kablam. They can print it and ship it, just one copy. And if we could find that in the UK, then we can really save on shipping costs. Same thing for Australia. I think my chances would be a lot easier to find something in Australia. But if I could find a print-on-demand printer there that we can that we can get any orders that come out of Australia to have them print and shipped directly from there and save us and them really save them a buttload of money for postage. But right now, all the PDFs can go anywhere in the world or the universe. So there you go.
And please vote in the Independent Comics Awards.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't even checked those out since sharing them with you guys. Anybody looked at them? How are they going?
Divinity is in first place in two of the categories of
Yes.
the two of the three categories that it's been nominated for.
Excellent.
And third place in the other one. So, and in the colorist, we need to vote for Sid Van Blue.
Yes. Yeah. So all you Silverline fans, get out there, because I think you can find the links on the Silverline page, right? They're all there on the page. Yeah. I've shared a bunch of them. I don't know if they're all there. So you Silverline fans, get over on the Silverline page and look for those links.
And you have to join the group. For those of you that are going to vote, just
okay.
You can't access the link directly and vote unless you're part of the group. So please join that group.
I did not know that. I was already part of the group, so I did not realize that.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy and quick.
Yeah,
painless.
That's all I got, Curtis.
All right. Well, I guess we should go around and we'll have everybody say where they can find you online. So let's go ahead and let's start with Aaron. Aaron, please let everybody know.
Facebook, Instagram. Facebook is Humphrey's Illustration, and then Instagram is AOH3810, and then Webtoons. I published my Goblins comic on Webtoons. I think that's it. Yeah, I think so.
And you're in the home stretch on that series, right? Where?
Yeah, I have just under like 2.5 issues left to go.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. And before we go to the next person, don't forget we do have Silverline merch on our Silverline store on Zazzle. You can find that through the links at the bottom of this video when it's uploaded, as well as on the website, right? John, how about where can folks find you?
Everywhere and nowhere, all at the same time. No. I'm on Facebook. I'm all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. I'll find something new to do to hop on. Yeah. I'm all over that's pretty much, you type in my name, or if you type in Artistic Viking, you can find me too in a couple of spots. So
you have something going on tomorrow, right? A live stream or?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be live streaming, hanging out with Dean Zachary.
Really?
Yes.
Say hi to him for me.
Yeah, I will. Well,
where are y'all going to be?
On my artist page is where the stream is going to be originating from. On Facebook.
So are y'all going to be somewhere, or is it just virtual?
It's going to be virtual.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll be drawing, he'll be drawing, and just be talking about some things, influences, things like that. Because of what most people know, I know y'all know, and some people may not know. Dean and Mitch kind of took me under their wing, and I was like, well, I want to do this, so they're got to make sure I take care of them first. and kind of get them out, hang out with them, stream with them first, and kind of go down from there. But I kind of plan to do that with other artists. I just haven't decided what frequency yet.
Cool.
Very cool.
Oh, he's agreed to do a cover for Divinity 2, by the way.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, I talked
That's
to him
good
today.
news. Yay.
So there you go. Little surprise for you.
Yeah, that's happy news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Barb? Where can folks find you online?
Barbara Kalberg or Barb Kalberg. Twitter under that name in Twitter, DeviantArt, Facebook, and Instagram. I knew there was another one. So I'm on all 4 of those. Look me up, follow me.
Very cool. And for myself, you can find me on Facebook, Curtis Fujita. You can find me through my martial arts school, Tiger Crane Kung Fu. I don't know why I'm doing this with my thumb. I saw politicians do that. So you can also find.
Was that the Bill Clinton one? He always
Yeah,
did
exactly.
that.
So I was like, and then this at the end of every sentence.
I thought it was Bush Jr.
Yeah. Or Bob Dole used to just put a pen in his hand and he would do this.
Yeah.
Anyways, I know how I went way off topic. You can also find me on. You also find the Shadow Ghost comic book page on Facebook. It's Shadow Ghost Comic. You can also find me on Instagram and YouTube, Tiger Crane 805, and also on Instagram you can find the Shadow Ghost Instagram page. It's just one word, Shadow Ghost Comic. So please find me on there. I'm going to turn it over to Roland, but before we do, just want to remind everybody, want to thank everybody everybody in the live stream chat. You guys were hilarious. We had a great time with you folks. We want to thank everybody for all your help supporting us with the Kickstarter, coming to the conventions, all this great stuff. It means a lot to us. We love comic books. We love making them. And if you continue to support us, we'll continue making the comics.
That's right.
And we had some great interaction tonight with our watchers, and I love that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And we it made us decide, Roland, that we're going to be asking post-COVID, we need to have a series of Silverline sponsored potlucks because we have a lot of cooks.
Yeah.
we could have talked for several more hours about food, regional and otherwise.
I will tell you guys, and if the listeners are still there listening, I've got a couple cool ideas that will require for future streams. That's going to require active listener participation. So yeah, and these could prove to be a lot of fun, I think. So yeah, it's just something that but we're gonna have to promote it to make sure we get people here. But because if it's just Wubba, then not that we don't love Wubba, but if it's one person, then it's not gonna work. So yeah, I've got some ideas that I think will be fun for the stream that will get the listeners actively involved, and so that could be fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, and I want to thank you, Curtis, for picking up the mantle while I was traveling back from DeLand from a fun show. We actually had we went out to a handful of us went out to dinner afterwards, so it was good and lots of fun. It was kind of nice to be back, and I think that was part of what brought the crowds out. Is I think everybody is just they're going stir crazy, and they're anxious to kind of get back to seeing some comics and seeing some good geeky fun like that. So it was good to be out there like that, and I'm hoping that there'll be more of the same, not just in Florida but around the nation as we can hopefully get back to pre-plague conditions and get conventions going on. I learned today apparently a lot of the big conventions that are happening early in the year have been pushed back to late in the year, which is frustrating all the late conventions because they're like, okay, I was normally in August, but now great big convention that happens in March is in August too. So I can't compete with big convention. And there was a couple of frustrated show promoters talking about that thing, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what to do because normally I'm in August, but now that this, and I'm not gonna call any names, but now that this great big huge convention is not going to do May, they're pushing it back to August, which is going to be right on top of me. So So I don't know how that will play out, but it'll be hopefully 21 will get us all back into some conventions and get back into the swing of things. I hope.
And can I mention one more thing before we
Sure,
go?
absolutely.
I have to mention, want to give big thanks to our producer, Brett. Brett carried a lot of weight tonight, helped us out with all the technical things. And I don't know if Brett, if you want to chime in, because Brett's team that he does competitive gaming with is part of the official Silverline brand. So I don't know if Brett feels so inclined to chime in and kind of let people know where they can find him and all the news about Red Rider.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
go ahead.
yeah. So Brett's talking in our ear. You can't hear him. But the gist of it is, Silverline Publishing LLC has branched out into esports. And Brett and his team have actually been streaming this week under Silverline Esports. You can go watch them, and there's a nice little Silverline S there with Silverline Esports there, and that's pretty cool. We'll go into details later, kind of how it happened. It just kind of happened. But part of that is that we now have a Silverline Discord. So for all of you folks who do Discord, go join our Discord. I'm trying to get all these folks here more active there as well. Barb has already discovered the Divinity channel, so each of our titles has a channel. We're gonna have a general chat there as well, and we might see if we can't try to start hanging out there so we can have some interaction with folks, that kind of thing. But Discord's all pretty, the whole social media as Discord or Discord as social media is pretty new to me. So you guys come over there and help us grow it. But yeah, it's pretty exciting to see the Silverline, the little Silverline bullet there as part of an esports team. So I told Brett that, now the pressure's on. They really got to go win a bunch of games now. Okay, cool. Brett said he just posted the Discord link, so you guys get over there and join Discord and participate there. Drop us some lines, links, and all of our streams and stuff like that. Brett's helping to. It's not finished yet, but Brett's helping to set it up. So when we stream, it'll go live there and all kinds of stuff like that. So a lot of cool stuff that Discord can do. So looking forward to that. This week. Tomorrow, John Crowther and I, I don't remember who it was. We'll say it tomorrow, but John Crowther and I will be on somebody's stream tomorrow night, promoting the Kickstarter. And then Wednesday Wham be on Wednesday, and then John and I will be on with Orlando Collector Deviants OCD on Thursday night as we push the Kickstarter. So. Watch the social medias for those links as they come up. And I'm done unless somebody else has something to say.
I think we're good. I just got
all right.
Dear Jerky, that Jennifer Luter's father makes. So Jennifer, please remember that.
Yes.
All right. So until next time, as always, remember to Make mine Silverline. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
9.8. That's sweet, John.